Hey guys, Press a Bill, Comic Book University, Wandavision episode 5. What a freaking boring episode, right? Holy crap. I was right. Was anybody else blown away? There was some real gut check moments in here too. Like there were some moments in here where if you didn't get just a little tiny bit choked up, you might be soulless. There are other checks too. Go watch a movie with like a little lost puppy or somebody losing their father or something like that. Because I'm saying, if none of those work, that's like the reflex check. You a robot. There was some sad stuff in here. Guys, I see the comments are already exploding. I do apologize. I'm going to have to get to those in a hot minute. So let's get talk about, we're going to go over the show from beginning to the end for the most part. And then we're going to start going crazy with all the speculation. I'm going to do a little bit as we're going. Okay, so we start off episode 5 with Agnes. First off, the kids, like the kids are there, and then oh my god, they won't shut up and stuff like that, and like you could feel the whole Roseanne Barr kind of moment there, and they really tried to step away. They went with a larger 80s, I don't know, span of television shows, which is important. So kind of like Full House and a whole bunch of other shows, that would have aired at around that time, right? But this particular one, they don't want to actually say Roseanne. They don't actually want to get too close to Roseanne because Roseanne wound up going a little bit crazy, but it is what it is. She's got issues. I can't hate on Roseanne. She's definitely got issues, like legitimate issues. So is what it is. As far as everything else, wow. There's the moment where Vision is freaked out, obviously, because like he, I mean, like she just put the beds together. Like she had just put the beds together. Saying all of a sudden they got kids now. What the frick happened, right? Like this is just 24 hours ago, and suddenly he's a dad of twins. Agnes comes over and she's Vision freaks out and he's like, actually, you know what? Just don't even touch the kids. And Agnes is waiting for Wanda to say something like, no, 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 go ahead, you can take the kids or whatever. And she's like, so do we do a retake? She's like, what? She's like, should we just do a retake? She's kind of breaking the fourth wall a little bit, right? Because she's saying, hey, I know, everybody knows, I know that you do retakes on certain things when you want the whole thing to just shift back to where you need it to be. So I recognize that, and it's a little freaky because it was one of those moments where it's like, oh shoot. Now I know that there are a lot of people who have the first off, let's get this thing out in the open right now. I know everybody expects that Mephisto is going to show up at some point. Look, he may. I personally believe it's going to be Nightmare who shows up because this is going to bleed directly into Doctor Strange too, and we already know that Nightmare is the main bad guy there. So I fully expect it to be Nightmare. But yeah, I don't think that I don't think it's going to be Mephisto, and I don't even think that Agnes is Nightmare or Mephisto. I just don't believe that. I know later on there's going to be people saying when Wanda came out of the shell and when she went back into the shell and you saw everything going red, I could have sworn I saw Mephisto's face in there. I still remember a bunch of the truthers who were like, I saw the devil's face in the smoke of the World Trade Center. Sure, bud. At exactly 6:66 in the morning, right? Because so that'd be 7:06 anyway. Um, yeah, I don't think it's Mephisto. Just putting that out there. But anyway, I don't think that I don't think that Agnes is the main bad guy. I do think that she's a key to all of this because don't forget, and I'm going to give my speculation on this at the end of that. I actually already wrote it down. The very last thing we're going to talk about before I get to the comments is going to be Agnes's role in all of this. Um, so Vision's like, wait, what just happened? And he won't let it go. And Wanda keeps on trying to, just move it forward, move it forward, move it forward. And she's out there, she's looking for some dark liquor. She's trying to give the kids a hot toddy. Look, I'm saying there's some Irish people in my family. You know what I'm saying? I get the whole hot toddy thing. So um what happens after this happens, the kids wind up growing up a little bit. That's a little bit freaky, right? Like that they got a little bit too old. But then all of a sudden we switch over to Monica Rambeau. And I got a whole bunch of positive things to say about Monica. A little bit of potential fear, a little trepidation of what they might wind up doing with her because it was a little bit, but I have to take it into context. Anyway, she, what happens? She says, Monica wakes up and she's getting all these tests done, including a blood test. And then that's when Agent Wu and Dr. Darcy Lewis comes in, right? They come walking in like, hey, what's going on? And these two are actually friends at this point, and I dig that. I definitely dig on that. I love these two's relationship. When they start talking to her and she's like, okay, I need to get up and I need to get out. That was the one thing that I had a problem with of this whole episode. I know. Like, of all things, that she got up and she was like, we're done with these tests. No more of these tests are going to be happening. I can assure you, I don't care what your rank is. I do not care what your rank is. She's just a captain. That's E3. You don't say, like, come on, man. No, nobody. I don't care if it's a freaking full bird colonel. Nobody gets to walk out of a freaking blood test if the blood test didn't get done properly or whatever. It's like, oh, it was a mistake. I'm going to bring you up on charges, but I know you got to do it again. Or send someone else in to do it, whatever. But you ain't getting up after those blood tests because, like, this is like an evidence thing. It's like you've got your evidence, you got your area quarantined off. If somebody comes walking on there, it ruins your evidence. You know what I'm saying? That's where you arrest people right away. I don't care if it was a mistake or not. You're going to jail. You messed up my crime scene. You're tainting my crime scene. Her blood is a potential crime scene. A whole bunch of all those tests that they were trying to do. If they didn't register, you do them again. And you at least do them 3, 4, 18, whatever times until somebody's satisfied that it's not going to happen. But you don't get to just walk away from that. Everything else there, the idea of Hayward suddenly taking a turn, I know there's a bunch of people out there also, because some people have said, I don't like the idea that, Hayward seems like there's something fishy with him. I didn't notice anything particularly fishy with the guy, like anything in the previous episode. So this was kind of a shock to me to see him acting like this and everybody else noticing that there was something wrong with him. That was a little shocking to me, right? Anyway, he I feel like I understand his actions. Not that I agree with them in any way, shape, or form. I do not. But he's one of your typical people who's just in power, in charge, and he's fearful. And that's the thing that those are the kind of people I don't really like. I don't like people who are really scared. You know what I'm saying? I don't like people who are always fearful of the next thing happening. I don't like, people who are dumb and just let things happen. So it's kind of like a balance. It's one of those things where it's like, if there's a threat, you have to assess it appropriately. But when your threat is when your response to a threat, a potential threat, what you think might be a threat is with some kind of violence, like attacking someone, maybe deploying a missile in a drone that wasn't supposed to have a freaking. I'm surprised that nobody adjusted for weight countermeasurements because having a freaking payload on that damn drone, I'm pretty sure that somebody would have noticed. But hey, maybe that's just me. Anyway, you figure Monica's flown a drone or two before, and she's like, the weight seems a little bit off, huh? Seems like maybe there's a payload on here or something. Anyway, Hayward acting like a coward in this, not even just like a coward, just like really fearful in first strike, preemptive strike. Oh, I hate that idea. Anyway, there's this damn dog that shows up. Sparky, they eventually go with the name. I love how everything was just coincidental with the name of the dog and everything like that. It was really cool and it was really good setup for what happens at the end of the story. When Vision says we're usually of the same go, right? They were never of the same mind, were they? But like, what was it? The same stone? Oh. That's what's so freaky about it when you think about it. So that's where the energy, the technology is coming from. All of this. It's so funny that these stones which were destroyed, by the way, these stones still have so much to do with the Marvel universe. I mean, aren't we technically in phase 4 by now? And we're still dealing with the stuff from phase 1. I have zero complaints about this. Excuse me. I like that they're calling it the hex because people have noticed before, like everything is in the shape of a hexagon and hex power and perfect. So I like that they're doing that. There was something. There was a quick thing that was said, almost like a blurb. Monica Rambeau is really happy with Wanda. She's very impressed by Wanda, all the things she does. She believes that Wanda's actually a good guy and things like that. More on that in a hot minute. But she doesn't want to talk about Captain Marvel. Oh, Tiona's supposed to be showing up. Monica Rambeau is supposed to be showing up in the Captain Marvel movie, when Captain Marvel 2, when that comes out. So I have a feeling there's going to be some sense of resentment that you didn't show up, you didn't save my mom, you didn't all this other stuff, right? Also, Monica's mom, Maria Rambeau, she wound up dying. We're talking about the idea that Wanda could potentially bring people back to life. Hold for that. Hold for that. Something that requires no change. Um, why exactly did I write that down? Damn it! Something there. Oh, when Monica went over and she shot her clothes, the crazy clothes that were actually what 98% Kevlar, I think they said, something to that effect. So that's interesting. The clothes are now bulletproof because and that's when they said we got to send in something that doesn't require change. So they made a drone out of 80s hardware. I think they kind of brushed over that, glossed over that a little bit too quickly, but I still dig the idea they did that. Like an old school drone where can move in and do this stuff. That was actually really cool. That was a great idea. It's also going to make it so that by the 80s, there was nukes. Say there was actually nukes for a while, but I mean, like you could technically nuke Westview. So I'm surprised they haven't decided to do that yet, right? Wu, Lewis, and Rambeau. It's funny. I think that these three are pretty much a perfect circle. So here's something that I was kind of a little bit worried about with Rambeau, because she wakes up and all of a sudden she's solving all the problems. She's going over here and I'm like, oh, please don't make her a Mary Sue. Please don't do that, because so many modern day movies wind up doing that. It's like, we got to have a strong female lead, so we got to make her know everything. It's like, no, that's not the way you're supposed to do that. I'm still trying to get my wife to watch Alien with me, the original Alien movie, so she could see what a real strong female lead can look like. And there are plenty of examples out there, but making someone into a Mary Sue, definitely not the way to do things. We look at it from this angle though, and I can kind of take all of that away. Why? Because Wu already did a whole bunch of research on this. Darcy, of course, already did a whole bunch of research on it. They both had a whole lot, but they were still missing something. So, when you say, oh, if I, who was it who said this? Sir Isaac Newton. He said, if I looked like a giant amongst men, please understand. I think Einstein repeated this also because he knows that Newton said this. If I appear as though I am a giant amongst men, understand it's because I actually sat on the shoulders of giants. This is true humility. And this is kind of how I'm looking at this, because all of the information that she already has came from someplace, and it came from Darcy, and it came from, so you've kind of got like, here's two different forms of physics, and you can know this just by watching Big Bang Theory, for crying out loud, which my wife is addicted to. But you've got the theoretical physics, which comes up with the ideas, but what makes a theory into a law? Well, that's when you need the actual practical physics application. So you have people who are going to prove and or disprove your theories. So bang, 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 the reason why the Big Bang Theory, it's not the movie, whatever, the television show, the idea of the Big Bang Theory is still a theory and not a law, is because there are 8 major factors of science. One of them is thermodynamics. While the other 7 say we have no problem with the Big Bang Theory, we like it. The law of thermodynamics, and it's a law of thermodynamics. Thermodynamics straight up says that energy has to come from someplace. Until you can show me where that energy comes from that actually causes this, it's still going to be a theory. So the onus is upon the theorist of the Big Bang in order to prove that, or to show and to demonstrate why, actually, the practical physicians anyway. So you get the idea, right? The practical application of this is from Wu, and the theoretical application is from Darcy. But the person that's making the universal theory of everything to combine everything, that would actually have to be Monica Rambeau, because she's got experience on both sides. She's kind of making the connection that each one on their own can't. And she's useless without these two have already done all of this information to begin with, all this research to begin with. So I like the idea that these three together are essentially a perfect circle. I definitely dig on that. And I hope that they keep doing that. Vision finally touches someone in here. Vision has this touch. He has the ability to touch someone, like this special touch. We've seen it in the trailers, and I kept on wondering when this is actually going to happen. He'll show up at like the scene where he's wearing the Vision Halloween costume. And he touches the one girl in the car, and a whole bunch of other cool things like this, where he just goes around, starts just touching and freeing people from Wanda's influence, from Wanda's control. Later on, called the Maximoff anomaly. Right? This is actually where he gets the term, because they're looking at email, and the guy Norm, he's all like, what the frick is going on here? An email? Where do I put the stamp? And the laugh track in the background. But as far as when Vision goes and touches it, because he touches the computer, he goes and he touches him also, and is like, my sister, I need to call my sister. How long have I been under for? Wanda's doing everything. Oh my God. And then out of mercy, he touches him again. Okay, that is interesting, and it's almost like it's showing the love that she has for Vision. You know what I'm saying? Because he's the one thing that can kind of separate. He's the one thing that, while she powered him and came from the same power that, stone, for crying out loud, the Infinity Stone. I'm used to calling them the Infinity Gems. The Infinity Stones from the MCU, powered by the same source, essentially. So that Big Bang theory, because remember the CMBS, I think it's called, I forget what it's called, but the cosmic radiation that actually stems from the Big Bang, the static that's in our TVs and things like that, well, the old school TVs, this residual radiation that still exists, squelch in a radio for the most part. That's radiation that originated from the Big Bang. That's the stuff that Darcy was talking about in the previous episode. And that's where the stones actually came from, even in the MCU, just like in the comic books. This is the reason why the Living Tribunal, if you're familiar with the comic books, isn't affected by the Infinity Stones, by the Infinity Gauntlet at all, because it's like, I'm not from your universe. I'm from outside of the universe. In fact, all the different multiverses connect, and I'm the guardian over all of them. I'm the lawmaker, the decision maker over all of them. So you can do anything that you want to anything in this universe, but I am never a part of that universe. To go on a little bit further, and I really hope they go on to this, there are actually three beings in all of Marvel comic book creation. I hope they do this similarly in the MCU. Three beings who are not affected by the multiverse, and the multiverse cannot get a bead on them. One of them is the Living Tribunal, because it's like, oh, we have no idea what he's going to do. We can't see his future or his past. We can't see what he's doing right now unless we're within his presence and actually know. But like, if he's out of our sight, we can't pick up on the things that, the Living Tribunal is doing. We have no idea. The second one is Thanos. Thanos has the ability to do that by being part not inhuman, part deviant, which is the future of mutants, or the ancestry of mutants, and also being part eternal, which is the maximum that anybody can possibly reach. And he's a Titanian eternal also, just for the sake of conversation. And the third and final person would be Adam Warlock. Really looking forward to that at some point. So I'm saying, that's all I'm saying. What else we have here? We have the take the shot thing. I actually already went over that. Wanda when Wanda came out, this was the big thing. When Wanda came out of the Wandaverse Westview, I actually didn't like that. That was the one part about all of this that I really didn't like, because it requires too much explanation. All of a sudden, Wanda's not the totally crazy person here. The only way that you can really forgive an insane person, or a person going through grief, or someone being bothered by temporary insanity, anything along those lines, the only reason why those things happen, or why we can forgive those things and not hold these people responsible, is because they're not fully aware of what they're doing. When Wanda came out like that, if that was actually Wanda, if that was actually Wanda, suddenly Wanda's guilty of all this stuff now. There was a part where she was aware of what was happening. She refused to listen to. This is where all of a sudden, not Heyman, what the hell is the guy's name? Hayward. When Hayward was saying, Wanda, like, you got to understand, like, you got to let the people go and things like that. That's when all of a sudden Hayward's not the bad guy anymore. Wanda's the bad guy. This changed things potentially if that was actually her who left the place to come out. If this was a part of her subconscious, that's a different story. But if this was actually her, that's not cool, man. That's not cool. Suddenly she's responsible for this. She knows what she's doing, completely aware of what she's doing. And that's where responsibility has to happen. Then we had, when she went back in, then she had Lagos. Suddenly we have Lagos. Because mind you, before this, we were talking about her powers, and like all of a sudden, well, they were talking about her powers. Everything was about altering perception through telepathy, through whatever. You know what I'm saying? She's altering people's perception. But if she's actually changing materials and things like that, if she's actually creating her twins, all of a sudden, this is her doing something completely different. That's materialistic. Suddenly, she now has probability or reality manipulation, and that's, or matter generation, whatever it is that you're going to call it. Reality manipulation, easily the most powerful power you could possibly imagine. The Molecule Man has nothing on this. You know what I'm saying? If you're familiar with the Molecule Man from the comics, he's considered one of the most powerful beings ever. No, not when you have reality manipulation. That's a completely different story. You know that. Ooh. But we have the Lagos commercial, the paper towels, to clean up the messes that you didn't mean to make. Me, I think by like, I have African people in my family. So when through marriage, derf. But immediately, like, I'm just the dumb kid. I just looked at it, I was like, Lagos? You mean like Nigeria? Oh crap, they did mean like Nigeria. In the MCU, Captain America Part 3, the Civil War, Lagos, Nigeria was where Wanda was when, they were trying to stop Crossbones, and suddenly, like, there was the virus that was supposed to go out, and then he was like, all right, Captain America, I'm taking you with me, or however the hell Crossbones accent did. Rizzo, go Rizzo. He pushed the button, and Scarlet Witch tried to contain that and then lifted him straight up, but then just lost control. Like, oops. And that's where and that's the Sokovia Accords, and that's where all of that came up from. Lagos paper towels to clean up a mess that, oops, you didn't mean to make. That was a really, really well placed commercial right there for anybody who was paying attention to that. Then we get the idea that she can fix the dead. This is something that I think a lot of us were thinking about when Vision died, when even before that, when Quicksilver died. I'm getting a Quicksilver. Hold on, my peeps. When all these people died, and it's like, can't you just fix these mistakes? Can't you just alter reality? Because mind you, we are comic book nerds. Most of us, okay, I imagine the most of us here, if you're here for Comic Book University, whatever, most of us are comic book nerds, and we know, but we have to remember this is pop culture, not just comic book culture. So not everybody's going to understand how powerful Wanda actually is, and all the different, I don't know, versions of Wanda that we've had, be it probability manipulation through a mutant ability, learning magic, it turning out being chaos magic, something that you can't actually learn, but something you can learn to control. What do you call it? Hex ability, the original hex ability ideas, and then eventually the reality manipulation. Like, all these different versions of Wanda that we've had, or interpretations of her that we've had. Right, the one who can actually stop the Phoenix. What? Like, it's a weird kind of thing. But they're pointing out how ridiculously powerful she is, how she has been slowly learning how to use her powers. If she would have understood her powers better, she probably could have freaking clapped Thanos. You know what I'm saying? She was the first person who really like put him for a bit of a spin. You know what I'm saying? You took everything from me. I don't even know who you are. You will. Like, that was a great moment. You gotta admit, right? Thanos he almost got his ass beat on that one. But, things happen. So Go back and watch that scene just on YouTube or something. Like, go back and just watch that scene. Dude, she was not clowning around, but she didn't have a full understanding of her powers yet. Imagine if she had the control of her powers now back then. She could have handled business on her own. You know what I'm saying? Thanos, give me those, give me those things. You know what I'm saying? You don't have reality manipulation yet. I do. So that would have just been amazing. Um, the whole idea of, again, them both having the exact same origins for their powers. When she's able to, when he's like, "You can't just stop this," and she says, "Can't I?" And then the credits start to roll, but he still doesn't allow it to happen, and he has to shock her out of that reality. Oh man, that was just crazy. That was just crazy. Like he ignored the closing credits and everything. I'm like, I literally, like, the credits kept on going and he's yelling at her. I was like, this is gonna stop at any second, isn't it? Like this is definitely gonna end. I'm like pushing the pause just to see like how much time is left. This is gonna end right now, isn't it? Like, I don't know, there's still a little bit left. That seems kind of weird. That had me going the whole time. Like, by the time the credits stop, like, this is like, it's just gonna end and we're gonna see somebody like pushing the end button or something like that, or Darcy going, "What happened? How come it got cut off?" I don't know. Or we're going to see their version of the ending. This one had me going more than anything else so far. Like, that was really good. He asks about the Maximoff anomaly. She says, here's what's interesting. When he gets mad, he rises up and he's actually acting like Vision. Because again, as I've explained in the previous episode, to anybody who's not familiar with it, Vision, neither in the comic books nor in the MCU, ever had super speed abilities. He could not move at the speed of sound. That was always Pietro. That was always Quicksilver. Vision does not have super speed powers. He never had them, never displayed them. So that was always an anomaly in and of itself to me, right? So, what do you call it? When he just like kind of rises up and you see like he looks like he's about to get pissed, right? And she actually rises up too, like they're about to have a spat. This is one of the situations where it's like, a lot of times the man will be talking some shit. He'll be like, "Listen, woman, you don't need to be messing with me. I'm not saying I'm going to hit you, but you're cruising for a bruising right now. All right." Like we seen some stuff like that in our own lives or on TV or whatever, the stories, comedians, whatever. We always get that. Like I'm channeling Eddie Murphy right now. "Listen, woman, I ain't trying to hit you, but," and you know how every so often like that woman will beat up Eddie Murphy and be like, like that. Like that's what's got me going right now. Vision can act like a tough guy all he wants. I'm not getting into a freaking fight. I'm not going to get into a fist fight with the She-Hulk. I'm not going to get into a freaking shouting match with Scarlet Witch. It's not going to happen. All right. You know why? Because I may be crazy. I might be dumb, but I'm not stupid. Like, what are you, crazy? Wow. So when he goes and says, "You don't get to make that decision for me," that he doesn't, what's outside of Westview, you don't want to know. You don't get to make that decision for me. I said, whoa, mother fathead. This is a case of the chickens coming home to roost. Because do we also remember in Captain America Civil War, this is where I get my pretentious pants on, pull these skinny jeans on. When she was like, "I'm just going to leave. I'm going to go get some spices." He's like, "I'm afraid I can't let you do that." "Are you saying I'm a prisoner?" Oh! When Stark put her under house arrest, and who was the one who was in charge of all that? Mother effing Vision. "Bitch, sit your ass home. Be happy I don't slap an apron on your ass. Take your shoes off and go cook me go make me a sandwich, mother fathead." Dude, I'm saying chickens came home to roost. You don't get to make that decision on this one. Remember when you made that decision for me? Would you like a ham sandwich or would you like turkey? Like, I'm, I'm putting that out there. That's what you get for being stupid. Mm, mm. After that, that's when all of a sudden, knock on the door. "I'm not doing this, I promise." I think I don't know. Like, this is her subconscious, not her subconscious, but I don't know. Did somebody else make Pietro show up? He showed up and I see the silver hair. I'm like, "Oh shoot, it's Aaron Taylor Johnson. It's Aaron Taylor Johnson." He's gonna be like, "Ah." Yeah, no. This was Evan Peters. Like when they actually said, I'm almost sad that they said she recast the Vision or she recast Pietro. Bro, that was not the Quicksilver from the MCU. That was the Quicksilver from whatever the X-Men franchise under Fox. Yo, that one. And you know what we all should have said? like Aaron Taylor Johnson should have appeared on the TV really quick and just be like, "You didn't see that one coming?" He goes, "No, I did not." I'm looking at this dude. I was like, "That's not Aaron. That ain't that dude." What? That was funny. That they had me going. So now I'm gonna give you my theory so that you guys can think about it and refute it if you want, and then as you guys are refuting it, I'm gonna go back up and I'm gonna look at all the comments. I'm gonna read off some comments and see what's what. So here's my theory. Have we seen Agnes's husband yet? Because I don't think we have. She talks about him all the time, and she's clearly she's like what do you call it? She's like the I guess in the military I would have called it the assistant gunner. You know what I'm saying? Like I was an M60 gunner, and we almost require an assistant gunner to carry extra ammo and to help us change a barrel and to feed us ammo. And like while I'm shooting and aiming and all that stuff, he's reattaching another 100 belt of 662 762 ammo. You know what I'm saying? To make it so I can keep on shooting. You know, so like is she the assistant gunner, so to speak, to Wanda? I don't know. I don't know. You tell me. But she talks about her husband every so often. We never see the dude. And she's the one who's just like, she's bragging to everybody else. She's talking to Herb or whatever the black guy was from like an episode, 2 episodes ago, right? The guy that was like, hedge trimming through the freaking concrete wall. Like, what the hell is this? I don't think we've seen him yet. Could that husband by chance be the person who was in witness protection program? Because look, I went back and I watched the first 4 episodes with my wife last I don't know, a couple days ago. It was like 4 days ago or something like that. And I'm watching them again. I'm like, wait a second. Monica Rambeau shows up in that first episode because there's a missing persons report filed, and like it's somebody that was in witness protection. Who could that have been? I'm thinking it was Zemo. I'm thinking it was Baron Zemo. Somehow this is going to lead to Captain America, or not Captain America, to the Falcon and the Winter Soldier thing. I don't know, but like, who else would be in witness protection like this? I don't know. It's got to be somebody. Somebody at some point is in witness protection, and then that person disappeared. So this obviously went on the FBI list immediately because they're the people who are responsible for witness protection. That's why Agent Jimmy Woo is there. So Wanda went there, maybe didn't like, in my opinion, maybe it was Zemo, and she's there and she's just trying to live there, and she brings Vision with him, disguises him and all this stuff, and all of a sudden Zemo is there. Zemo's the dude who was doing the whole mind control stuff. He was reading all the books for understanding the mind control of Bucky, and he understood the way that worked with the Winter Soldier to activate him. Bruh. Maybe he's just like a fellow Sokovian, right? And maybe just the shock of seeing him put her into this. Maybe he's manipulating some stuff from behind the scenes. Everybody's saying they're talking about maybe it's Mephisto, maybe it's Zemo. But that missing person, that missing witness protection program person, that is the key. That person is the key to all of this. They never said the individual's name, and they've been glossing over it the whole entire time. And Monica actually mentioned it again in the previous episode 4, because I just rewatched it again, and it was something that I missed. And she's like, "Wait, this started off as a witness protector. Was it her or somebody else said? This started off as a I think it was Wu who said this started off as a missing persons report. So let's try and figure out all the people, the cast of characters that we're seeing, and boom, 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 right?" They even try to, see who's the cast of the kids and stuff like that. And that's when because they're still doing that. And that's when they're like, oh, it's brand new and whatnot. I personally think it's Zemo, but whoever it is, and y'all put your points in the comments. I'm about to get to them right now. But whoever it is, that's the real key. And I don't think that Mephisto's on the missing persons report. That's just my opinion on this. So let me scroll back up. Bah! Let's see what's up. Got to hear your thoughts. You just heard my thoughts, God damn it. What's up, Justin? How you doing, brother? D. McElroy. What's going on, dude? And away we go, Mr. Grouch 86. Mr. Grouch. I always loved Mr. Grouch. I don't care how evil he was on the show. Silent Night. What's up? That was epic. Love your. I butchered that, I know. Sue-Ann. What's up, Sue-Ann? Good morning, Justin Giles. How you doing? Waiting for Sparky to come back as a robot. See, love your. That would really go great with Tom King's run, right? How perfect would that be? Art Chemist, what's going on with you? Got a hint of Reed Richards in the introduction of the X-Men. We have a hint of everything showing up constantly, Walt. So glad these twins aging up fast. I'm ready to see Wicked and Speed. Love you. I'm telling you, it's a possibility. Think Monica has powers already? Walt, I'm telling you. It was hinted at. Sir Cam Lenz. Lanez. Sir Cam. I'm going to go with Sir Cam Lens, because you know what? I like that, a camera lens. The jokes about nicknames were about a nickname were funny. No, agreed. That's actually a really good point on there, because I was looking at it also. It's like, are they going to bring up the Scarlet Witch? Because maybe it might be one of those things where they just don't give her that name or something like that. I don't know. Plus, with Moon Knight coming up, I hope that they're going to bring in Stained Glass Scarlet. I think that was issue 14 of the original run. Best issue of Moon Knight ever, in my opinion. Really great one. I actually, you know what? I loved it so much. I actually did a spotlight on story for that. So go check out the spotlight on story for if you want to see a really great, an observation of a really great. I'm not going to say that my review of it was really great, but I don't know. But anyway, that's up for y'all to decide. But really great episode. Really great issue. I saw that hint, Monica's powers too. It's going to be awesome to see. It could be. Dude, we're talking about the most powerful character straight up in the Marvel Universe. I don't care what anybody frickin' says. Monica Rambeau is one of the most powerful people ever. And the only reason why Captain Marvel could technically beat her is because anything you could do, I can absorb, including you. It's like one of those like fanciful things. You know what I'm saying? It's like, I can burn everything. Yeah, but I'm water. So what are you going to do? Dehydrate me? That's a possibility too. There was also X design on Wanda's top in the previous episode. I see things like that. I don't know that's really where they're going with it, but it's a possibility. What's up, SoFlo? Justin, what's going on? Just got off of work. Wanted to tap for a second. Hit the hay. It's 3:15 where I am. Yeah. So it's early for you, because I got this at 4:16 in the a.m. So I'm saying, it's all good though, brother. I'll see you later. What is this? Valzion. Theory: Wanda can't get his brother's body to bring him back, so she recasts him. This may help conclude Herb's missing word with dead, making Wanda bring back the entire town. It's a possibility. And you know what? That would actually flow really well with this story. Like, she can't bring back the dead, so she recasts him from a different multiverse. Think about it. This is actually the very first, I believe, this is the very first multiverse recasting, because we know we're going to have the multiverse in Doctor Strange 2, the Multiverse of Madness, right? We know we're going to have all of this stuff happening in Spider-Man 3 also, right? So the very first one, we just had it. Pietro is back, but not from this multiverse, from a different multiverse. I'm digging on this, dude. What's up? Hello from Brazil. What an amazing episode, man. I agree. I 100% agree. Baron. I'm gonna say Baron because I don't know how to pronounce that, and I don't want to butcher your name too badly. So Baron. Love your. Yeah, I wonder what happened to Pietro's body after Age of Ultron, right? Riddled with bullets and God knows what else afterwards. Rian says, this episode proves Mephisto probably will be in the next episodes. Good. G.A. Reynolds. I don't think Wanda recast him. I think Mephisto. Everybody with Mephisto, bro. Everybody with Mephisto. It's a possibility. It's always a possibility. Will the Fox universe be canon in the MCU? Well, it is. It's actually that's a solid question right there, Lovier. Will the Fox universe be cast or be canon in the MCU? It is, but ish. So here's something that's very important to understand in the comics because it transfers over to here. The comic books, the regular comic books that we read, are called Earth 616. Earth hyphen 616. So Wolverine and Spider-Man and Captain America and all the ones that are in the regular comic book, the comic books, that's the Earth 616. Sometimes they travel to different dimensions. All right. You could travel to a different dimension. You can travel to an alternate reality. You can travel all over the place. It's fine. You can go into the past, but it's not your past. It's not the past of Earth 616. It's a different universe's past. Because if you change something back there, it doesn't necessarily change it here. And while technically it could explain something, as has happened in several Fantastic Four, Moon Knight, and West Coast Avengers comics, and that's the only time when I know that there's a confluence where these things actually do change something in the future. There's never been another time in the history of Marvel Comics that I'm aware of, and I've read a couple comics where that's actually happened. Because when you change something in the past, it's an alternate reality past. Likewise, in the future, when you go to a different, when you go to the future, you're going to a different universe's future, right? This also transfers over to the MCU. The MCU is not the comic books. They're very different. Similar characters, almost the same characters, but they've had different life experiences. But the MCU, the Marvel Cinematic Universe, is classified as Earth hyphen 199999. So the number 1 and 5 nines. Number 9. Beatles reference there. So, which also brings me back to the stained glass scarlet comment that I made. Beatles reference, John Lennon specifically. So we have all the different past, present, future, all being different realities, right? So you can't actually change your own timeline. That's the reason why they had to go and borrow the Infinity Gems from different timelines and bring them over there. And what's her name? If you didn't understand the explanation that was given enough, then the Ancient One, she went and explained to the Hulk in the Avengers movie. The was it the final one? Yeah, the End Game. She actually goes and explains. Okay, so you might be able to save your timeline. What's to say you're going to bring the gem back to this timeline? It's like you're going to have to trust me on this. Like Doctor Strange said, this was the only way. That's the only reason why she allowed it. She's like, Doctor Strange is the best of us. If he said this was the only way, then I have to trust that it really is the only way. Otherwise, she was not going to let it happen, and her timeline wouldn't have been changed. Right? It would have gone however it would have gone. Maybe things would have been a little bit different. Maybe this cat would have not had to puke instead of puked. Right? In just whatever, just some random cat someplace. Maybe the butterfly would have went left instead of right. In this particular alternate timeline. You know what I'm saying? The changes don't have to be a drastic change. They could be a very minuscule change. So there's that. Anyway, so it's important to understand that, yes, the Fox universe is canon in the MCU, but in different times. So actually, mind you, Kevin Feige is in charge of all the comics. Read your comics, bruh. So here's a comment I was trying to read. That's why I was actually a little bit late to watching the episode. I think I should be able to see this. How do I? It's hard to freaking read the damn thing. They make the print so small. Anyway, it actually mentions Kevin Feige is in fact in charge of the comic books, and I've reported on this before. Plenty of people have reported on it. Kevin Feige is in charge of the comic books and the MCU. He's in charge of all of it right now. So if he says make a change, then it's changed. But even without that, it's always been the case where The MCU is simply different from the Marvel universe in the comic books. You know what I'm saying? But it's all canon, just it's a different reality. That's all it is. So yes, the Fox and Feige has said before that yes, all of those exist, but in a different timeline. So he actually wanted to have Wolverine show up at some point in the Captain America: The First Avenger movie, but they weren't able to get him to show up. They weren't able to do it, and they couldn't work something out with Fox. Fox were idiots, and that's the reason why they lost everything. You know what I'm saying? Sony's willing to play ball at least a little bit. That's the reason why they're doing so successful right now. Maybe that's just my personal opinion, but prove me wrong. Fox were jackasses. They're like, we don't need to mix ours with yours. We've got the superior product. Hey, will you buy our stuff? We'll be happy to buy your stuff, but it'll be at a discounted rate. They actually paid less than Cablevision was willing to offer. Well, no, Comcast, not Cablevision, Comcast. So, next episode will be exciting. Damn straight. Silent Night. Man, this episode really make me question Wanda's morality. Same. I don't completely hate her, but the episode did a real good job of changing her relatable personality as a misunderstood, powered individual. Agreed. That was the big thing that kept me attached to this. So again, might not have been her. I hope it was not really Wanda. She left that bubble and threatened S.W.O.R.D team. Agreed. Maybe they are showing us how Wanda will definitely become the Scarlet Witch. Possibility. G.A. Reynolds, I still think she has some plausible deniability. She says when she sits down with Vision, she doesn't know how it started. Precisely, she doesn't know how it started. I think I have a clue how it started, but it's obvious she just wants to keep the idea of stability. Yes, and it helps that she's nesting right now. Remember, they actually brought up nesting. Nesting is a real thing. A woman gets pregnant, she starts right away. Nesting. Gotta find the perfect home. We gotta move into a bigger place. We gotta do this and this and this. We gotta make a room just for the kittens. Like, will you stop? Will you stop? Please just stop. You know what I'm saying? My wife started nesting big time when we were actually in Jeddah in Saudi Arabia. And she still hasn't stopped. Our kids are 5 and 7 years old right now. You know what I'm saying? And she still hasn't stopped. She's still like, we should move to a different place. I'm like, I'm going to trank you. Don't make me get a freaking trank dart. Take a nap. You know what I'm saying? But let me tell you something. Everybody stays in carrot. Hex magic, you say? Hold on, let me cough. Mute is a beautiful thing. She at least doesn't have control over some things. Agreed. Agreed. Because there's someone else still behind the scenes. Agreed. Whether it's Mephisto, Zemo, whatever. Got me rolling over here. I try to make some jokes once in a while there, Justin. That was so meta. Agreed. And it's the meta stuff that's really cool about it. I love stuff like that. If I'm tripping, but if you look at 3323, there's a red hand you see, Wanda behind the mirror in her back. Okay. 3323. I still got my thing open. So let's go and take a look really quick. 33. Oops, 23 you say, huh? A red hand on her back in the mirror. So I'm looking. Let me look in that mirror. You guys are gonna have to go and look at this on your own because I'm not sharing this. I'm not gonna get in trouble for doing this. I'm not seeing it, bro. Nope. Sorry, bro. I'm not seeing that. Um, it'd be interesting if there's a red hand on her back. That would be huge, huh? It's a huge deal. Um, love it if the old Marvel Universe Quicksilver game up. Didn't see that coming, right? We haven't seen Ralph. I think he's either Mephisto or the witness protection guy. Yeah, see, that's what I'm saying. I think that he's the witness protection guy. Definitely confused about the witness protection person. Could it be Pietro? That would to go into witness protection for that. That'd be pretty interesting. I don't know. Holy crap! I'm all in now. The episode was great. Best TV I've seen in a long while. Agreed, Redneck Trekker. Um, The mind you, he's a Trekker, not a Trekkie. um, the new Pietro came out different reality, so I don't think so. Wonder if there's going to be role in the Fox universe. That would be a cool Easter egg. It would be. He's supposed to be there for like 2 episodes. I think Quicksilver kind of confirms that. I just feel like it may be recast some of the Fox favorites, but not actually canonizing the Fox films. I think the Fox movies exist in the MCU, and whoever's controlling behind the scenes brought him life in this bubble. When Billy says, "Sit, Sparky, sit, good dog." Family Ties, which this episode was based on. Family Ties was a great TV show, man. I love that. Every episode of Family Ties ended with "Sit, Ubu, sit, good dog." There were actually a lot of episodes. Well, not just episodes. Ubu Entertainment, whatever the hell it was. Yeah, that was actually there was a show called Duck Factory, I think, that I used to watch. There were a lot of just like at the end of all of the what the hell's the guy who does did the new Star Trek? He did the J.J. Abrams. J.J. Abrams has the Bad Robot and That's Some Bad Hat, Harry, right? All of those things at the end of Brooklyn Nine-Nine, you got Fremulon and stuff like that, right? They always have something. Everybody's got something, and sometimes they'll put something silly at the end. When they did the whole thing with the Bad Robot, whatever. When they did the thing with Sit Sparky Sit, Good Dog. Yeah, I did think that was, back to the idea of Sit Ubu Sit, but that wasn't just Family Ties. There were a lot of TV shows that were made by that same production company. Maybe it really is Dottie. Dottie's the key to everything in this town. Dottie. Esther Haynes says that. G.A. Reynolds, no, I think Pietro is fully dead, but to appease another Mephisto thing, probably a dying reality like Fox. It's a possibility. That'd be fun if they did do the dying reality thing. I kept waiting to see the kids use some powers. They did age themselves, so they did technically use some powers, right? Maybe it was her, whatever. Wanda and Vision arguing after the fake credits. Great acting, great scene. Agreed. Dwayne Williams, can it be Nightmare controlling Wanda because he can control your feelings through your dream state? That's why you remember what's going on. Yes, that's one of the things that I feel also. Like she's unconscious. Like I feel like she's unconscious, that this isn't her. She's not doing this. You know what I'm saying? Well, she's doing it, but like it's her subconscious. Nightmare is in there, in her mind, like, fingers, tendrils, digging in, stuff like that. That's what I'm imagining a lot of this is. Hell of a turnout for your live. Well, thank you, Mark. Your observation is always great, Professor. Well, thank you, Sue Ann. I believe they are showing their powers through the aging. Vision is controlling the cap. She accidentally read the multiverse open. That's why we have Evan Peters. I think that's just such a great thing. Vonnie speaking on Danvers. It reminds me of the Hellfire turning. Yes, that's actually a really good point right there. This is very similar to Mastermind controlling Jean Grey, the Dark Phoenix, while the thing was happening, right? The actors had so much fun showing the range of the show. She recast him, brought him back. Some people have suggested that Monica doesn't like Captain Marvel because she might have something to do with her mom's cancer. See, that's a good possibility also. Yeah, all of that. Yes, I agree. Her mom might have actually figured it out and said this is, but she didn't know. So it's a possibility. Can anyone else see the views of YouTube of Elizabeth Olsen explaining Wanda and the Vision? Yes, I've seen that also, and I've actually referenced back to that several times. So Kevin is literally the one above all. Let me try and get to the end of this really quick. Trust it. Yeah, in the MCU, we trust Redneck. In Feige, we trust. See, that's what I'm talking about. They quote Olsen saying she would have done a Luke Skywalker moment. It's a possibility. It can't be. No, it's impossible. If they did see, right now is the perfect time. If you're going to have that crew show up right now, or the universe, the multiverse of madness, the Spider-Man thing, any of those, that's the perfect time. Not just like a Deadpool moment where he's got Beast and Xavier and all these people there in the background and he doesn't get to see them. That was a great moment in Deadpool 2. But actually being able to see these guys together, actually seeing them showing up in the movie, it would be freaking amazing. Saying just one last hurrah to see them off. I think I would absolutely love to see something like that. It would also be, I think, a really good way to explain why Magneto is still around. If you want to, if McAvoy wants to stay as Professor X, they're both young enough. They could be recast. The whole team, they could all be, recast, so to speak, to be the same cast and actually stay in. I would love to see something like that because, again, Magneto being super old doesn't really work nowadays because there aren't too many World War II survivors who are left, and the ones who are, very few of them are even mobile. Like, I know this. I just spoke to a Holocaust survivor. I think it was 2 years ago, and she could barely move. Like, she was ushered to different places. And it's like they're really old at this point, Um, I bet Magneto will be a big cameo. I would love to see this. Feige showing his true genius. Agreed. Mr. Raider Nation. Hello. Um, Will, they literally took this episode, say in this episode, Wanda can't bring back the dead. They gave she didn't say that she can't bring back the dead. She said you're not supposed to bring back the dead. So we'll see. And that's because the twins have never met him. Yep. Guy wanted to reverse back to her normal accent when she left the Hex. What could that imply? Agree. See, that's a good point, Gus. I actually forgot to mention that because I was looking at also saying, but there were so many things I was just writing down so fast. I'm like, I'll remember to write that down later. I didn't remember to write that down later. I wonder what else I forgot to write. But the point is, yeah, she came out and she had her accent again. She wasn't trying to hide anything. Like, it wasn't like for a TV show. It was actually her talking, right? Again, it could have just been her subconscious. Again, I believe it's Nightmare. I want my X-Men characters to be handled more delicately than they were by Fox. 100%. I could not agree more. Guys, I am at the end of the comments. And literally, this showing took longer than the freaking episode. Not usually a huge fan of that. You can just go watch the episode again, and I highly recommend you go back and watch the episode again. Ooh, I can't watch this episode with my wife. Because the dog, that stupid freaking dog. That's why I wrote that thing. That's why I wrote the thing about the damn dog. That dog was so cute. My wife's been pestering me to get a freaking dog. And I don't want to get a dog because I know that I'm the one who's going to have to walk the dog. My kids aren't going to walk the dog. My wife isn't going to walk the dog. My cat's not going to walk the dog. They're going to get into fights. I'm going to have to break up the fights. I know that I'm going to fall in love with the dog and be like, the dog. I don't want a freaking dog because I don't want to walk the dog. Okay? Because I know I'm going to be responsible for him. So I'm really upset. I can't show this episode to my wife. Do not send her any private. That would not be cool. That would not be cool. Hey, don't forget to what? I'm going to forget like this episode even happened. That's what I'm going to do. In fact, what episode? What are we here for? What are we even here for? Guys, I will talk to all of y'all later. Go back and watch that episode again. Love, peace, and hair grease. Professor Bill, Comic Book University. Thanks for showing up. This was a fun one. Class dismissed.